It's Thursday, July 15th, coming up live on The View. Good Morning America's Sam Champion and journalist Stephen A. Smith are both guest co-hosting to weigh in on hot topics. From whether Bristol and Levi's reunion is a shot at redemption or a reality show, to evidence the Mel tapes were tampered with, and why Whoopi's irate over her new iPhone. Plus, Jennifer Love Hewitt's exposing how this good girl went bad, and even learned to pole dance for her scandalous new movie, The Quiet List. And if she was nervous to bare her bikini bod in People magazine. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt's telling you about starring with Leonardo DiCaprio in this summer's most mind-bending blockbuster, Inception, and why he thought his career was done after Third Rock from the Sun. All that, hot topics and more, coming up live on The View.
To The View. Sherry and Elizabeth are off today, and of course, Barbara's not with us. So our special guest co-host today are Good Morning America's weather anchor, Sam Champion.
Hi.
And sports journalist extraordinaire, Stephen A. Smith.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
He's more than a sports journalist. He's a raconteur extraordinaire.
Yes, he's
I'll take it. Whatever you're giving, I'll take it.
Now, look, before we do this, I need to tell you, because I know Joy and I have an iPad. We love our iPads. Love the iPads. I know you guys use iPads over
Got the
there.
phone, yeah.
I just murdered my new iPhone. I murdered...
How'd you kill it?
It started with Stephen. Because I was on Stephen's show... You know, and first, the people couldn't get a hold of me. My phone would ring and ring and ring and to them, but wouldn't do anything to me. I couldn't hear it. So, like, it's now 45 minutes. I'm late for this interview on the phone. So finally, I get on the phone. I finally get with them. I'm talking, and the damn thing went out. I said, look.
Oh, you're on the air?
I'm on the air with him.
On my show? Yes, yes.
It threw away, what do you call it, emails that I got. It didn't take stuff in. I took that bad boy. I opened the car door. I said, damn!
You know they're about to offer a fix for that, right?
There's no fix for this. My phone was bad. It wasn't just that the antenna was bad. It was bad.
But you see, what bothers me, everybody, you know, I love these. I've got the iPad. I've got my Mac computer. I've got all of that stuff. But to me, a phone is supposed to be about the phone. You've got people getting these iPhones, and it's like, oh, I just love the applications. I mean, did you see them? Oh, my goodness, you can check your email. You can do... No. The phone is supposed to be about the phone.
Well, just get a phone. And
just get a phone.
That's what I did. That's why I said. That's what I'm telling you.
That's what I did. I just went and got the old, I had the 3G. I went and got the old 3G, which worked all the time, with and without the application. It was very nice. The phone was clear, even though it was, you know, that certain carrier that we can't say because I don't want to get in trouble.
No.
But aren't I good, Bill? You know?
No, I can't do without that now. And I have the 3G. I don't know from the 4G. I don't know. I don't have it. But I'm getting my radars. I'm getting my...
The radars.
Yeah, you know, because you can get full-page weather.
Saga.
No, not that one.
Radar online. Yeah,
Another hot topic. But I'm getting all that stuff, and I can't do without it. So,
but they say that if you put a rubber thing around it, it works. But it didn't work for Palin-Johnston. But maybe it'll work.
Hey, here's the thing. I can do without anything that doesn't work.
Yeah,
if it doesn't work, I can do without it.
Yeah, that's what I say. That's why I'm
simple
not married. Moving along. That's right. Along now comes a fifth Mel Gibson tape getting posted on Radar Online. Also comes accusations that the tapes have been tampered with. An expert told GMA this morning that professional mics were used, the tapes were professionally made for distribution, and parts were edited together. Is this just going to go on and on and on and on? This is like the story that keeps on giving.
And on my other show, we will continue to cover it constantly. Thank you, Mel. Yes. What I was going to say is, at one point, they say that because it may not be inadmissible in a criminal court, then they can't use the tapes as evidence. But that his lawyer said that. So that means that they're admitting that it's him on the tape, isn't it?
Well, I guess so.
If they're saying you can't use them, they're saying it's me.
I think they've taken his voice. What I understood from GMA was they may have taken his voice and cut it up and edited and done things to it. That's what
confirmed or denied that it's his voice. His people haven't come out and started talking yet. So so everyone's just kind of running with the assumption that it is his voice. But but what was mentioned today is there are two things that could be a problem with the tapes. One of them is you need to have the original tape to know whether it was edited as an original or not. The Radar Online folks say they did not edit it, but the expert who was on GMA this morning said that tape was edited. It came from two different sources, that there was a fade up and fade down of her voice, and it could be that they didn't even come from the same conversation.
Sounds beautiful. Well, let me tell you something. Let me just stream it on back to just a regular American way. I heard the tapes. I played the tapes on my show. That was Mel Gibson. And I'm telling you something else right now. I don't care if it's 3, 4, 5 different conversations. There are rants that he is going on uninterrupted. 50 seconds, 60 seconds, a minute and a half. You just hear him going off. He's screaming. He's calling her all types of names. He's spewing threats. I'm sorry. There's a court of law, true. And obviously with their custody battle, because, you know, he wants custody of the kids, she wants sole custody of the kids. The reality is that in America, there's also the court of public opinion because he works in Hollywood.
Well, Hollywood will forgive him. They will forgive him.
I'm telling you something right now. I'm not going to say he's going to be unemployed, but this kind of stuff, the stuff that they've heard, I'm telling you right now, even I had to sit there and backtrack. You know, I don't like to do that, but I had to sit back and say, it's bad. It really is.
Do you remember the part of the tape where she says, what kind of man knocks my teeth out when I'm holding a baby, that part, and then he says you deserved it. So, I mean, that's an admission of guilt right there.
Well, yeah, I mean, she was saying, she said you need medication, and he's like, I don't need medication. He starts screaming.
Medication's not going to work on him.
I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for somebody to make a definitive statement about what this is, because now, you know, there's too many people involved. There's too many people. Radar's involved, and Soka grandmas,
and the tapes.
You know, it's too many people.
But again, in a court of law, I have no doubt that there's something that he will be able to do to navigate himself through this situation. But in terms of the court of public opinion, anybody that listens to that tape and just say, you know what, forget her voice, she gets silent, and you hear nothing but him.
So you're saying, basically, that it doesn't matter if the tapes have been altered, that it doesn't matter what situation.
In the court of public opinion.
In the court of public opinion, nothing matters. It is only all emotional.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? People respond emotionally.
Not only emotional.
In the court of public opinion that he's talking about, it's emotional. Because what we're talking about is not what the facts are. He's saying what you feel when you hear that makes you nuts. That's what you're talking about.
It's not what I feel. It's what I think when I hear them.
You'll never argue more passionately than with someone that you're in a relationship with. I do not ever want, and please, I do not ever want to be recorded when I am in the middle of an argument with someone that I care about or I'm connected to.
Have you ever spoken to anyone, even 1/10 of that? Even 1/10?
You know, Joy, I want to say no. Probably 1/10. I want to absolutely say. I want to say no. But I do know that I have said things to people out of passion that I would later have regretted and come back and said I'm sorry for. This does not. Please don't think I think anything he said was okay. I don't.
Say that a couple of times, Sam, because people don't hear stuff. We are not condoning whatever what you call it. What is it? Mel Gibson did. Okay. Just understand that, so we don't have another 3 weeks of this garbage.
And I don't want to take those nasty phone calls that you've been getting. But here's the thing. All I'm saying is there's no winners here. Because when you're arguing and you know someone well enough to punch their buttons and you know how you want to argue back and it becomes one of those ugly things. He said all the wrong things. If she had a problem, she should have, as you said, gone to the police and said, here's my problem and let it get straight.
would have done exactly what she did. I would have released
those. If you were holding your baby and he punched you in the face, almost hitting that baby, no, you go to the police. You go to the police. I'm sorry.
It seems like the first place she went was to Radar Online.
Well, she does have a restraining order, which is in effect. It's been in effect.
And somebody just said to me, the 911 tapes are the tapes that we should be actually hearing of what happened initially, to find out what this series of things are.
Released, maybe. Those tapes were not released. But I just always say this, that I would have done the same thing to him, because I would have felt, as a woman, I would have felt powerless to defend myself against a powerful, very, very rich man who's so enraged and so insane.
But he's not in the house with you. He's not in the house with you. You can go to the police. And you know that the police hate his behind because he's been such a bonehead to them. So that's the first place you go, because you know they're going to get it. They're going to understand and say, come here, Oksana. Come here, baby.
If someone talked to me like that, I'd want to humiliate them.
Oh, yes. You know what? And we know you would tear them up, child.
I would.
And you know what we're going to do right now? We're going to go and come back with more Hot Topics.
Hi, it's Jennifer Love Hewitt. I am coming up on The View. I'm going to sit on the couch and talk about my new job. I play a hooker.
Us Weekly broke the cover story announcing the engagement of Bristol Palin and Levi-Johnston. And since then, everyone has been weighing in on why they think they're doing it. Okay, y'all.
I already said something yesterday, so go ahead, guys.
Well, for me personally, the first thing that came to my mind is that clearly the problem was with Sarah Palin as opposed to with Bristol. I mean, because when you look at Levi when you look at Levi and Bristol, you know, he may or may not have wanted to get married while she's preaching about abstinence. He's on the cover of Playboy and all of that stuff. So obviously there's a divide that exists there. But at the same time, considering the fact that they've got a young child, you had to believe that they wanted to work it out. And the whole, you know, the campaign, running for vice president of the United States, you know, not only that, spewing, you know, I don't want to say spewing in a negative fashion, but really, you know, just disseminating her points of view to the masses and what have you. I think that got in the way of a young teenage relationship that just didn't want to be a part of all of that. And now that has subsided a bit,
it's like
they're
Romeo
getting on with their
and Juliet
lives.
and Wazilla.
All right. I want to believe. All right. I want to believe in love.
Yes.
I do. More than anybody in the world, I want to believe that these are two teenagers who got off to a rocky start and found each other in the negotiations for their child. But I smell a reality show.
I do, too.
I don't know.
I'm not disputing it. What I'm saying is that
Monster-in-law.
you could have stayed together and still ultimately had the reality show. I think the separation had a lot to do with Sarah Palin's impact on their relationship. Because, you know, with the politicians, when you're running for campaign, comes all that other stuff with people trying to run your lives. And how are teenagers going to ward that off?
Do you think there's any validity? What I was thinking is that she wants to run for president. She's throwing her hat in there, and they need redemption, and she needs to reassess and reconstruct the family unit. You know, she can't have a single mother for a child when she's running for president.
See, I don't think so.
The Democrats will be all over it.
No, I don't think so. First of all, the Democrats...
The Christian right, where would they come out on it when they're the ones who hate teenage marriage and they preach abstinence?
The Democrats and some people on the right are not in a position to judge her in that regard. That's number one. Number two, and more importantly, I think in this day and time, it's one thing if her personal values were inconsistent with her message. But at the same time, you can only do so much for your child. If you've raised your child and your child decides to go out there and have a child out of wedlock, that's not her fault.
Now, let me ask you about this, because this is total 380, 340, whatever.
180, 260,
180,
325.
The NAACP accused the Tea Party of tolerating bigotry and approved a resolution condemning racism within the movement. But Reverends Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton have a different view of this. Why do you think that is?
Well, first of all, thank God that they do. That's number one. I mean, it would have been easier for them to jump on the bandwagon and just simply say, you know, the Tea Partiers are racist. The fact of the matter is it's very, very dangerous to paint people with a broad brush. Certainly, you can look at some of them, the people holding the signs, the people saying the derogatory statements about the President Obama. I'm sick and tired of him being called Mr. Obama. It's President Obama. He earned that title, by the way. But there's a whole bunch of people. There's a whole bunch of people that write that and they say it. And I'm just saying, just show. And I would have felt that. I felt that same way when they called him Mr. Bush. It was President Bush. He earned that title. When I'm saying
they called him.
The W, you know, or W. But anyway, W. But what I'm saying is that you have to look at it and say, wait a minute, we're in a society now where we constantly preach about the importance of judging people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin or the brand that comes with it. The reality is that Tea Partiers, for the most part, they want lower taxes and less government. Some people might act up, and some people might have that mentality, but you can't paint all of them with a broad brush. And Reverend Jackson and Reverend Sharpton were right to say that.
That we started looking at it in every situation that way. And there is a group of people, Tea Partiers, who stand for a number of different things. Let's not pick one thing, one part of them, one faction, and discount them. Let's not do it to anybody. Because if we're going to take on racism as a discussion in this country, let's make it an intelligent discussion. Absolutely. Let's do it as smart people trying to learn things a little differently.
Focus more on fact and less on emotion.
Because they are there. You know, but anytime you have a group of people, there are always going to be boneheads in there.
Absolutely.
There's always going to be somebody doing it the way that you go, what are you doing? Yeah. Why are you carrying the sign with the monkey on it when we're here to talk about taxes?
Good people need to speak out against evil in this country and in this world. And a lot of the Tea Partiers are being called on the carpet for not saying we have this fringe group and we disown them. They should speak out more against it.
And also, let's be cognizant of the fact that, to some degree, this is politicized. Because if indeed you are able to paint a particular party as racist, then you know what? If another party is associated with them, then they get, you know, painted with the same broad brush, and ultimately that works to the advantage of somebody else going up against them. We have to understand that things are politicized in this country all the time, and we have to be intelligent enough and wise enough to see through that nonsense.
The Republican Party should watch out because the Tea Party is their base.
That's right.
So they don't want to be painted with that brush.
That's why I said what I just said.
We should all just watch out because, you know, Republican, Democrat, Tea Party, we're all Americans, and this is still our country, and if we're not watching out for each other saying you need to take that damn sign down because we're better than that, then we're going to be going through the same road time after time. Just like today, we're going down that road of having to take a break. We'll be right back. Sam, you know, I wake up to you and watch you in the morning, but you've been, you know, you were one of the first people down in the Gulf at the beginning of this whole ridiculousness with the oil spewing out. And now there's an issue with the latest plan to cap the spill. Can you give us an update? Because you were down there, you smelt it, you dealt it, you saw it.
Good luck with anybody getting a real update on this, but you're right. You can smell it, you can see it, you can deal with it. We went down there, and the reason we went down is when we started asking questions, we couldn't get answers. Well, like, what happens with the dispersant? How much oil is leaking? Remember, I don't trust anything people are telling us about the situation because there was no oil spilling initially, then there was 1,000 barrels a day. Now we're up to 1.5 million gallons to 2.5 million gallons of oil pouring unchecked into the Gulf every day. If you look at their numbers, that's 182 million gallons on the high end. And why wouldn't you go on the high end estimate? Because there hasn't been a correct estimate yet. So the reason we went down there to dive was because we were like, well, what happens with the dispersant in the oil? And nobody would tell us. So we went in and we got this hazmat suit and we jumped in to see what it looks like, and it stays, you know, 20 or 30 feet below the water, and then it washes up on shore. So that's what we did. Now, I'm not giving anybody a pass, by the way. Today we're watching to see if the cap goes on and if they can take all that oil out. If they can, good. Don't we all feel good about that?
Absolutely.
But you don't get a pass from me because that should have been ready to go on day 1. Not day 86.
Let me ask you, Sam, there are a lot of rigs in our waters.
Yeah.
Is it possible this has happened before and we just don't know about it? Because somebody mentioned Africa. Had you heard that? That something like this had happened in Africa and it took them 50 years to close it?
I've heard it's happened before, not to this extent, but it has transpired before. This is why, when you talk about offshore drilling and, you have some people that are opposed to it, some people that are all for it. Well, let it be somebody else's problem. Let it not become a problem right here in the United States of America. But, obviously you have some people that, internationally, in the international community, I don't want to say that are happy because that's just too egregious, too harsh to say, but you have some people that don't mind this happening to the United States because they're like, wait a minute, there's things that's going on in other places. We want you to see what life is like for us when people are drilling on our shores and when we have to deal with some of the things that we're dealing with. That's just how people feel, accurate or not.
There's no way around it. Americans use oil, we use a lot of it, and I'd like for us to use less, and I think eventually we will, but the oil has to come from someplace. I'm fine with if you need to drill, I'm all for free market drill, but you definitely have to have those safety precautions on the rig, on the boat, wherever you're moving it, so that you can handle that spill immediately.
Well, let me ask you this, because the CEO of Spirit Airlines is defending charging up to $45 for stowing a carry-on bag. He's saying he's keeping the ticket price low by charging for items that are not essential for vacations. So you actually don't need luggage to go on vacation?
Well, no, wait a minute. They're saying you need he's allowing a carry-on for free. One carry-on.
One carry-on.
Well, I've traveled many, many, many times with one carry-on. I went to Sicily for 10, of course I wore black, but I went to Sicily for 10 days with one carry-on, and so did Steve have a carry-on. That's all. You want to know how I do it?
Yeah.
I take 7 pairs of underwear and I throw them away every day. I do not wash them. It's too much to wait till they dry.
Right.
I wear black, because I'm in Sicily. Even if I was in, if I was in Miami, I'd still bring black clothes with black and white, and that's all. Earrings, accessorize, black and white. You never have to wash black, really. And you just keep wearing the same thing and accessorize differently. You can do it, I'm telling you.
Did I tell you?
Take your luggage.
What about if you have a kid with you?
Well, that's different. I don't have a kid with me.
I must say.
No, but that's the point.
Well, you can put the kid in the overhead.
No, that costs $45.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Y'all are missing the scam here.
What?
Every time, and you're talking to somebody that's been on the road. I mean, I was accustomed to traveling 200 days out of the year for a decade. I'm here to tell you something right now. You look at you got to wait all day, every day. I don't care what airlines it is for your luggage.
That's right.
It's almost like they did it on purpose to make you want to take your bags on board with you, so they could charge you. I mean, it's unbelievable.
But you're
now
right.
they got
See,
this
that's
scam.
another reason not to take luggage. You have to wait for it. I don't care what class you're in, how important you are, how rich you are. You still have to wait.
I don't know if I would advocate throwing my clothes away. I don't know about
just little underwear, little bikini panties.
Yeah, and send us the pictures, Stephen, of you in those bikini drawers. Now listen to this. British scientists, this is one of my favorite things. British scientists say they have found the answer to the age-old question, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Now they claim a protein found only in a chicken's ovaries is necessary for the formation of an egg. So the long story short, the chicken came first.
Hey!
But here's my question. So if the chicken came first, did it spontaneously appear?
It's really a religious question when you think about it, because, there's all sorts of religious notions about God and everything else, and they never know, even atheists who don't believe in God, they still do not know who the first mover was. What started the Big Bang? What started the world? So people say God, but then who started God? I mean, there's always this circular conversation, and that's what the chicken-egg theory is about. Who started the chicken? Did the egg? Did the chicken?
See,
Same as the world.
I think what happened was the chicken did not begin as the chicken. I think the chicken was something else. And came up out of the muck and mire, shook itself off. And suddenly when it was dry, it went poof.
Yeah, I see. Well, that could be.
I won't even attempt to try and answer this question. I won't even do it.
We will be right back with Jennifer Love Hewitt.
movie, The Client List, Jennifer Love Hewitt gets a crash course on, shall we say, the ins and outs of the world's oldest profession. Take a look.
All the outfits are in a little room in the back, but each of these rooms have everything you might need. There's condoms and oils and such. Oh, and drinks and Viagra are on the house.
You give away Viagra?
It pays for itself. Little blue pill keeps us in the black.
We were worried when the economy tanked, but turns out that this is the most recession-proof business there is.
And what about the police?
Oh, well, let's just say donuts ain't the only thing they're getting for free.
Please welcome back the lovely and talented Jennifer Love Hewitt. You look so cute today. She's adorable.
Thank you.
We were talking about Bristol Palin. What do you think about that whole situation? Do you have anything? Because you're always in People magazine, and she's on Us magazine, and it's like you're in that whole group of.
I don't know. I was kind of shocked by it, actually, but I was just intrigued by the fact that she was like, I'm really scared what my mom is going to say. And I'm like, well, then don't go to Us Weekly. like maybe have that conversation first. I don't know.
Safety in numbers.
Because everyone from Us is going to protect her against her mom.
Now, in this movie...
It's kind of odd.
Okay, in this movie, I want to get to your movie because we want to make sure everybody watches it because it's really terrific.
Thank you.
And you play a wife and a mom who becomes a prostitute to feed her family.
Yes.
So, what made you take this role?
Well, for the first time in the United States, more than ever right now, moms and housewives are having to go into sex worker positions. Phone sex, massage, whatever, to help support the family. And I was really intrigued by that idea. And I also thought it was really interesting because most of the time these movies are empowerment for men going out and sort of helping their families. And I thought it was really interesting that this was a woman sort of taking the power and going, no, I'm actually going to go out and do something for my family. And so I was just really intrigued by it. And her journey is quite fascinating.
Is it really a common thing for women to do
right now, more than ever in the United States, women are doing this stuff because of the economy and where we find ourselves. And also because at home, when men are feeling bad about not being able to support the family and the women are stressed out and everything, there's not a lot of relations happening. And so they're going out and doing these things. And it's interesting.
Now, I've known you since you were a little kid. And I know your mom.
Yes.
Yeah. So when your mom heard that you were doing this, did she say anything?
She was pretty supportive, but it did, like, a week ago, she was like, so let's just review the last year, shall we? She was like, for 15 years, people have been talking about your boobs in the press. She's like, you wrote about your hoo-ha in a book, and now you're playing a crack hoe on TV. And I was like, yeah. And she goes, so could we do maybe, like, an animated film next? Or can you play Cinderella on Broadway or something? And I was like, okay, I'll clean it up right after this one, I promise.
Well, Jennifer, I don't know if anybody else up here would ask you about this, but I heard you took pole dancing classes for this. Yes, you did. I heard about that. I want to know, I personally would like to know what that was like for you, and whether or not that's something that you still do right now.
Well, I do have a pole in my house now, yes, and I love it. Have you ever seen pole dancing, or?
Yes, I have.
You have, okay. So you know what it looks like. Okay. It's very good for your body, and just for and for sexuality purposes, I wanted to sort of just feel empowered and good and everything about it, and so I'm
ashamed to tell you that once when I was a guest on The View, there was a pole dance, and I think Joy and I tried to get up the pole just to get on the pole, and we couldn't.
Under me, pushing my butt up the pole.
By the way, it's really hard. I mean, I have respect for those girls. It is not just like put on. Yes.
Tremendous respect.
I knew there was going to be a pole dancing follow-up. I just knew it. But I was afraid when I watched it last night, I was afraid that you guys were going to glorify or glamorize this industry. But this movie gets hard.
Yes.
I mean, you really realize she's going through a lot.
Yes.
You've said it was empowering for you to do this role. What part of it was empowering for you?
I think it was something, it was a subject matter that I was very judgmental of. I mean, when I think of people in prostitution and things like that, it's very easy to judge. I mean, it really is. And I always just assumed it was something that they chose to do, and I didn't really understand why. And when I was filming the movie, I realized that there are a lot of women out there who really feel like there's nothing else that they can do. And some of it's self-esteem issues. Some of it is people have made them feel like there's nothing else for them to do. And some of it is that there's just really not another choice. And they're very well paid, and they go out and do this stuff. And so it was just empowering to know that that some of them choose it, but they choose it for different reasons. I always thought, you know, we throw around the word slut and stuff like that very easily, and I just felt like that's what I thought it was. And afterwards, when I really got to meet some of these women, they're very smart, empowered, beautiful women who just feel like they don't have any other choice.
Did you find in your research that a lot of them were abused as children, sexually abused?
And a lot of them were just not parented well. I mean, they were made to feel like their physical appearance was all that they had, and that's very much what my character goes through in the movie. Her mom is a good mom, but she's a Texas mom, and she's raised her to believe that beauty pageants and that this is all she had to offer. And later on in the movie, she says to her, she goes, I guess I should have made you feel good about other things. So,
you know, you recently posed beautifully in a bikini for People magazine.
Thank you.
And but a few years, what is it, years ago? I don't remember how long ago. Yeah, they put some unflattering pictures of you, which I can't even imagine that you would look anything like this. Really, I can't even imagine it.
No, they were bad.
I didn't see them, but you know what's bad to you might be good to me. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, you know, that must have made you feel bad. So how did you feel now that you know that you're back there and you look good?
It was really nice. You know, I joked at them at the shoot. I was like, you guys kind of owe me. I was like, this is because it was emotionally very tough on me when they came out with the photos. And you know, people don't talk about that a lot. We're all supposed to say, oh no, it was fine. It didn't bother me and whatever. It emotionally for 2 years really put me into a bad place. And as a young person trying to feel good about yourself and like just feel like you're okay, it's hard when they do that stuff. And so it was really nice of them to come back and allow me to be a part of something that's about good body image and positivity. And I was really excited that I was chosen to be sort of like the cover person, because I'm not a size 0 and I'm not 12. And I was like, that's awesome. Like that means that, you know, curvy girls can do it too. And I like that. I thought it sent a good message.
Curvy girls of a certain age.
Yes.
Because Joy and I are not there. They're not putting us on the cover. You know, you can catch Jennifer Love Hewitt in The Client List Monday night on Lifetime. Please watch it, because she's worth watching. She's a good actress. We'll be right back with Inception star Joseph Gordon-Levitt. From TV's Third Rock from the Sun to last year's wonderful movie, 500 Days of Summer, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is one of the most versatile actors out there, and he will knock you out in the summer blockbuster Inception. Take a look.
That boy's relationship with his father is even worse than we imagined.
This helps us how? The stronger the issues, the more powerful the catharsis. How are you going to reconcile them if they're so estranged?
Well, I'm working on that, aren't I?
Move fast. Projections are closing in quick. We gotta break out of here before we're totally boxed in.
Please welcome Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Yeah. So, congratulations on Inception. It's a sci-fi film, which is one of my favorite things. You play a person who goes into people's dreams to extract their deepest secrets. Now, just so we all know, how does that work?
So it's not a sci-fi film in the sense of it's set in space or in the future or anything.
It's not Star Trek.
No, it's not. It's not. It feels like our world. The only sci-fi thing is we have this machine where we can share dreams. Where I hook up to it, you hook up to it, we could all hook up to it, and then be in the same dream all at once. And then there's guys like me and Leonardo DiCaprio's character who use that technology to steal people's secrets.
So you a bad guy, man?
We're gentlemen thieves.
Gentlemen thieves. I saw it the other night, and I felt like it was The Wizard of Oz, really, in space. Because,
that's one of my favorite movies.
Because it's Leonardo DiCaprio is doing they're dreaming, and he wants to get home, just like Dorothy.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. Well, yeah, he's ended up in a situation where he's away from his kids. for a lot of, you know, you have to see it. I won't explain the whole plot.
It's a little difficult. You have to really follow it.
Yeah, so, but
you
he wants
can't take a nap during this movie.
No. It's not the kind of, well, the thing is you don't know what's going to happen next.
Right,
you know, and most movies, especially a lot of Hollywood movies, big summer movies, you know, they're so predictable. They follow a certain formula. They're a product of marketing research.
Right.
Whereas this is a movie written and directed by a guy named Christopher Nolan, who made The Dark Knight and Memento and lots of great movies.
And these were heavy thinking movies too. I mean, you had to work for those movies. When I loved it, by the way. I thought it was great. Special effects are phenomenal, but I had a headache trying to follow this thing. I got to tell you. So now he told you, Christopher Nolan did, when you, I read that when you were doing this film, it was going to be very physical, and you are upside down, you are slow motion, you are in these incredible chase scenes. How did you prepare for that? Did you train for that?
Oh, yeah, it was a lot of training. I felt like I was some kind of pro athlete there for a few months. You know, the stunt team was really cool and ingratiating, brought me in, taught me a lot. And yeah, there was, you know, basic physical training, and then, which is cool because normally in a movie when you train, it's so that you look a certain way. But this wasn't for that. I was in a suit the whole time. You couldn't see my body. It was so that I could pull these things off. And, you know, then there was combat training and firearms training, and then they built these amazing sets and contraptions to create this effect of weightlessness. Because gravity goes all dreamy in the middle of one of these action sequences. But they didn't do it fakely with digital effects. He wanted to do it for real, so he created these huge things that spin around and hang from wires, and like, because he's, you know, I think that's one of the things about Mr. Nolan's movies is that as grand and spectacular as they are, they always feel real. You feel like you're watching human beings, not cartoons. You know,
It's important to note that also Michael Caine is in this movie. Marion Cotillard, who did La Vie en Rose, she played Edith Piaf, Ellen Page, and Ken Watanabe. That's a very, very good cast.
Yeah, well, he really prioritizes the acting, too. He comes from, you know, I guess, indie movies. His first, you know, breakout movie was Memento, which came out of Sundance, you know, so that's the other thing about him. It doesn't feel like a commercial. It always feels like a real story, you know. A lot of stars, but I think even more importantly, a lot of really good actors. And
a great editor, because even with great stars in it, you don't have a good editor. It's really stinky.
Look at this face, though. Look at this face, everybody. Do you recognize this face? Third Rock from The Sun, the TV show. That's where you first.
Hold on. There's more. 500 Days of Summer?
Yeah.
That was you. You loved it? I want to say you got a Golden Globe nomination.
That's right,
Yes.
You were charming in that.
You were fantastic in this movie. My grandkids made me watch it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And did you enjoy it?
I did. I was surprised because I thought, I don't want to see, this is not bad. You know?
Yeah.
But did you have a good time doing it?
Oh, I loved 500 Days of Summer. Yeah. You know, it was me and Zooey Deschanel, you know, that actress. And she and I have been friends for a long time because we had done a movie prior. And we got to do this dance sequence, which I had never got to do before. And that was really fun.
I was going to ask you about this. We see that you're doing seem to get a lot of dancing going. You got a lot of dancing going. Maybe we'll see you on Broadway soon. Thank you, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. His new movie's Inception opens tomorrow. We'll be right back. Thanks, Sam. Stephen, have a little good time. Take a little time to enjoy the view.